9:30 and it's telling me poor network connection. Alright, now we say a connection is available. I hope we have a good connection for the show. I am sorry for being so late. I was supposed to start at 9 o'clock, but all kind of things went on, and I could tell you, but then you really elbow you to tears. I mean, there's a couple of things I had to deal with. Work that had happened 6 o'clock in the morning. I had to also coordinate to deal with a guy who's selling perfume for his girlfriend. Somebody used to work with me a long time ago, and so he needed help with that, so I was dealing with that and all those kind of dramas. Anyway, so we're jumping in here at 21 minutes past 9, and we're gonna make up the time. And you all see the ODPM put out a warning. So the last time the ODPM put out a warning about rain, we didn't get no rain. And when we needed a warning, we didn't get no warning, and we get rain for so. So I don't know what to tell you to do. I don't have to tell you to take it seriously, but every warning, no matter how much time they cry wolf, brace for wolf. So we had some phenomenally bad weather over the Monday and Tuesday, and in places that are prone to flooding. Now the entire country is a freaking lagoon. If your house is in a low-lying area, forget what your neighbor's doing. Forget what anybody else saying. Secure your house with some sandbags. Have some sandbags standby. If there are doors that you don't have to use, take my advice on this one. If you have like doors that you don't have to use, you could duct tape inside and outside. Duct tape real strong. And you could duct tape inside and outside, and it will really secure you because you need to, right? So, I'm saying, I can't tell you if to take them seriously or not. It's Trinidad. We have, I don't even want to find a word or name to tell you, our state offices are unreliable at the very best. I want to be nice. I want to try to be nice. If you all help me, I'll be nice throughout this entire broadcast tonight. We have a nice show. We have a nice following, and I want to keep it there. So to those of you who are now tuning in, I'm going to play a little music for a minute so that I could share the video in the groups that I am in. For the people who don't get the video, I get in some doubles you want. Yes, Renee, I want a comment on by you to get it. Let me know when you have it. Put pepper in mine. For the people, plenty of people don't get notifications for some reason, and I don't even want to go down the road of the conspiracy theorists. So let's share the video with everybody, and we could take in. I said a real Gatorian. Take in. People just ask me, you are a wordsmith. You are supposed to be able to talk with kings and the common man. What is in? Excuse me. Maybe this one.
Islands in the sun, islands in the fun. Welcome, welcome, one and all to the land of death. Trinity born, Trinity born. When it comes to Bacchanal, well, they can't eat me yet. Trinity born. Share it. Trinity to the bone, Trinity to the bone. Lord, I pray that some sweet day I will no longer have to roam. Trinity to the bone, Trinity to the bone. The problems we have are plain to see. We prove we can stand this scrutiny. All I know that true democracy. How we vote is not how we party.
And that is where we stop that song. How we vote is not how we party. We, the 99% who take in all the jamming, but we will come to that. I want to deal with that issue because, anyway, it's not really an issue, it's just me talking. You know, sometimes it's just a conversation. It's what I do, this that I do, what I do, this is still new to me. I didn't set out in my life to be doing this. This wasn't part of the plan. This still makes my life hard. All of my problems, all of my court appearances, all of my stress, all of my legal fees, all of the arguments and the confrontation and the bad talking and the bacchanal and the character assassination, all of that comes with politics. All of it goes away if I just stop. If I just say, to hell with Trinidad and Tobago, not my circus, not my monkeys. If I just done, all of it done. But you hear what he said? Sweet, sweet TnT. Lord, how I love up this country. Sweet, sweet TnT. No place in this world I'd rather be. The San Juan Lavantil Regional Corporation responded to us today. So I'm reading this hot off the presses. As I get in it, you get in it. Mr. Philip Edward Alexander, I refer to your request for access to information pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. I refer to the caption matter and to your request for access to official documentation dated 11th June 2018 and received on the 13th of July 2018. Oh, it took a month to get there. This is San Juan Lavantil Regional Corporation. We wish to inform you that the San Juan Lavantil Regional Corporation has granted access to the information as per your request. Please be advised that the San Juan Lavantil Regional Corporation will be unable to provide you with any documentation, as a search has indicated that there is no such documentation to indicate that Kiss Baking Company and or Quelo Baking Industries Limited and or their agents were given permission to conduct business sales on the public streets, highways, sidewalks, egresses, pathways, roadsides, and any other public area and locations overseen by the corporation within its municipality. It is signed by Ann Hussain, the Chief Executive Officer of San Juan Lavantil Regional Corporation. That is 8 out of 14. That is 8 out of 14. Now, I want to let Trinidad know this, as we just received that. So I'm going to put it in the public space because the public are anxious to see where we're going with this. A very well-known attorney has made himself available to take this before the courts. And I'm going to give people the information. Our next step, now that we've crossed 8 out of 14, now that we've reached this stage, I am putting Trinidad on notice that our next step is to take this before the courts, to get an order from the courts to force the regional corporations to take action against Kiss Baking Company. Kiss Baking Company needs to stop and it needs to be fined. And we're doing this on behalf of all of the authentic entrepreneurs, those people who spent money and built their bakeries that Kiss Baking Company is trying to drive out of business by breaking the law. I ain't going down that road tonight at all. All you know, I'm working on this about 2 years now. We are at this point. This is how hard you have to work to get actual law enforced in this country. But we will bring an action, you know. We will bring an action against that company. Let us get where we have to go, step by step. We are at this step. Please take a minute and share the video with everybody. Just share it on your timeline. You don't have to share it in groups yet. Share it on your timeline first. All right, let me explain to you why we're taking this action against Kiss Baking Company. Kiss Baking Company markets itself as the largest wholesale bakery in the Caribbean. And that's a massive claim to make. Kiss Baking Company is a member company of the Chamber of Commerce and the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association. Kiss Baking Company, as part of those two organizations, has a voice and a say against every illegal vendor that has been removed and moved from every Burgess municipality street in this country, including the little gentleman around the savannah whose art was thrown in the back of a truck and dumped. Every single small bakery in this country is suffering because Kiss Baking Company has targeted them to drive them out of business so that you will only be able to get bread from Kiss Baking Company, which is not fair play. A free market, especially a capitalist market, requires competition to keep productivity and quality up and prices down. Service to the people dies when competition dies. That's the truth. We don't have competition in this country for the alcohol suppliers. They have a monopoly on price. And you will think that, well, I will open and sell foreign, and you could. But Trinidadians will go where price cheap and there's advertised cheap price. So the alcohol companies have a monopoly on alcohol products, and because of that, they keep. Do you know that Scotch whiskey, Johnny Walker Black, lands in Trinidad and Tobago without tax and tariffs cheaper than Olocrum? Do you know that? Do you know all your expensive alcohols that you buy, all those beers, Miller, Coors, Dos Equis, Corona, all of those beers land in Trinidad, reach here cheaper than it costs to make Carib and Stag Hospice? But because of government fake management of the economy, we have protectionism for monopolies, which is a contradiction of what government's supposed to do. I don't want to get so far into all of this so fast, you know. But we need to level the market for business to take place. We need Miller and Coors and Corona and them to kind of to come back and do business in Trinidad and Tobago. There is a market here for everybody, and we should make sure that it is possible, because the moment you level the play field and you remove the tariffs and things that has the play field uneven, the moment foreign brands could compete with Angostura and Carib, all of a sudden Angostura and Carib will have to step up their game, lower their prices, improve their service. Right now, what we get is a joke. But you don't have a real government. What you have are governments willing to take donations from big companies to act on those companies' behalf. Why has neither the PNM nor the UNC at any point saw it fit to bring Kiss Baking Company to justice? You are going to put the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to investigate and prosecute people for wetting Fitzgerald Hines in rain. But Kiss Baking Company has been allowed to flout, break, abuse the law for almost, I don't know, a decade. And we have, like the little bakery in Belmont on Pigot's Corner, it is indecent and an abomination that they are allowed to come and park up on the pavement outside of this bakery where these people are working and paying bills and paying taxes, rent and mortgage, paying staff, paying electricity and all the utilities, contributing to the development of the community, and Kiss Baking Company passes through like a parasite and drops people on the pavement who go and piss in the river and go and piss down the road. Because you're selling bread for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. Where you going to the toilet? Where? How you washing your hand? And you're selling people food. Where's the Ministry of Health? Where's the Ministry of Health where that is concerned? Anyway, I make a joke tonight, but I want to tell you something. When you see you're in the grocery and they swipe your card and that machine taking long to respond, you could be a billionaire. People in the line behind you, you're feeling that. Because you don't want that thing to come back and say denied. And the longer it takes, is the more. And you're not training here. If they swipe your card and have a problem with the machine, and you have to wait for it to run itself out, and then you swipe it again, Trini's first reaction, you check yourself, check you, and check everybody you know. The people in the line behind you, the first thing they do is shift weight from the leg that they're on to the next leg. That's the first thing Chinese do to let you know they're getting impatient. They shift that weight. A different leg end up in the job there. And then, if it's taking longer still, the next thing is a stoops. That's Chinese. That is our communication. Shift your weight and then stoops. And if it's still taking long, they have to start to look around and turn around like they're looking for who's the manager and all that kind of thing. Anyway, they have a Chinese grocery that I've been shopping by recently, and they have a machine that gives so much freaking trouble. But I just have to laugh at the experience of life, which got me to thinking about this show and these things I do and the politics. 18 months, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, that's 12. February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 12 and 7 is 19 months. Party is 19 months old. For 19 months, people have been telling me how to talk, how to say what I say, how to dress. We have conversations about my beard. If my hair rumple up when I do a video, people just message me. And I can't lie, I got confused for a while there and I started to lose myself. And then I realized something. And I'm starting to realize this because I'm taking a little break now. I'm taking a little break so I have an opportunity to do some introspection as to where I'm going with this politics. I mean, I will always love my country and I will always want to stand up for my country regardless of where I am in the world. But now, the truth of the matter is, right now, I've gotten to a place where, because when I took the break, I want to step aside and ask Felicia to take up the role of acting political leader. I wanted to be able to check my bearings, because I know that the party is sound, I know the ideology is sound, I know the plans and policies. No political party in this country's history has ever had policies that would redevelop this country to that level. So I wanted to just look at me, my situation, because I watch this country. I mean, this country's a joke. Take Gary Griffith, for example. The UNC loved Gary. The PNM hated Gary. Now the PNM appoint Gary Commissioner of Police and is the UNC attacking Gary. Gypsy hate PNM and is a UNC and leave UNC and go on PNM, and the PNM people that used to cuss Gypsy love Gypsy. And there are plenty of those that you could talk about. Jack Warner. Jack Warner, when he left the PNM, when he left the UNC, he became friends with the PNM, and the same people who used to cuss Jack every single day had not a bad word to say about Jack again. And so I realized carefully that a lot of these people, clearly, that a lot of these people who attack me because they see me as an obstacle to their agenda, to their progress. They see me and my situation is doubly worse because it's not PNM attacking a UNC or UNC attacking a PNM. Both PNM and UNC, their sycophants and their trolls attack me. What makes it worse is all of their Capel Bissons and Daryl Dukus and Marcia Brave Boys and Kim Coles and Starks and Inshan Ishmaels and these Wabi. Their job is just to attack anything in the water that is seen as a competition or an obstacle to the progress of what they're defending, what putting food on their plate. They have no ideology. They don't care an iota about Trinidad and Tobago. I watch Inshan Ishmael. I don't want to call this man's name, you know. I hate to call his name. When people send stuff to me about him, I tell them, hey, not me, brother. Wrong nigga. I want nothing to do with them kind of shit snake. But I watch Inshan Ishmael in one brief period cross from UNC to ILP to PNM without pausing, and I remember I was on a radio show in Power 102. I had an evening radio show, and he called in, and it should still be available on the archives. And live on air, he's trying to convince me that politics is different, and that linking up and networking is important, and all of this bullshit. And all I'm hearing from all of these people is the same nonsense. I look at They have this woman from Blue Range, and I eviscerated her on Facebook, and it cost me some friends. But you see, I watched this woman play COP, suck up to Kamla in UNC, and now playing party in power because PNM there. And all these people interested in is getting their own nest feather. They're interested in getting their own easement. They're interested in getting their own access. So all of these people for instant sale. And I don't know how they do it. I don't know how you could be one thing today. There's only one political party I was ever a member of, and that's the Congress of the People. As a member of the Congress of the People, because the ideologies of the Congress of the People are still my ideologies today. Now, I grant you that I got in close with the UNC, but that's freaking Gary Griffith's fault. Because I was working on Gary Griffith and I was still giving the UNC real stick. And every single week, Gary used to sit me down and tell me, brother, you're causing me stress. Because I was his communication advisor, but Fuad couldn't get away. When the Medicare stunt come out, he couldn't get away with that. The ambulance service, he couldn't get away with that. Kamla, I was the one who forced Kamla to pull down them billboards. Jerry Hadid asked me if I know what I cost the UNC. Kamla spent money putting up billboards, and I went on TV and I said, you cannot be deifying the leader. That's not the role of a prime minister. This is not North Korea. This is not China or Soviet Union, Russia. This is a democracy. You are elected as the highest public freaking servant. Don't be putting up your picture all over the mother's place, and especially when it is using public funds. Vasant Bharat, these fellas, they're so double-tongued. and hypocritical that anytime you have to deal with them, you have to find out what benefiting them to know where they're coming from. They're not stuck on an ideology. They don't have a vision for something. Their only vision is what moves me forward. How do I benefit? What makes my life better? And that's all they care about. And these political parties are platforms for that kind of business. Because these political parties are gatherings of self-interested persons who only looking to make them their own lives better. The same financiers that the PNM cost, that the UNC was using, that the PNM called corrupt, that was Kamla contractors working with the PNM now. And PNM, listen to me, PNM financiers and controllers was getting big contracts from the UNC. It is a big ruse. It is a lie. Watching Kamla and crew outside the Prime Minister's office today protesting Sarigate is bullshit, because the rest of the country ignore the yellow. We ignore the yellow. But the UNC don't have exclusive claim to all the Indians in the country. And the UNC certainly doesn't speak for women. Because UNC's women's arm, just like the PNM's women's arm, are very, they're very, how to say, they choose their battles. They don't stand for all issues. And if you cannot stand for all issues, you stand for none. Because all of a sudden, your activism becomes suspect. It is not real activism. It is agenda-driven, and that helps nobody. Watching them Scott Timmy saying politics tires him out. Bro, I do this 24/7. You know. But come Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, Stanmore Avenue, we have work for you to do. But the point is, we've had 56 years of this. We've had 56 years of everybody fighting one another. Eric Williams, the man used to curse the people of this country. I don't know if he make a deal with Satan, but he used to say things about Trinidadians and it would become a reality. He would say things about us like we are 9-day people. We'll follow our issue for 9 days and get distracted. That's disgusting to say, and yet is a fact. Because we don't follow an issue. People don't follow. I have been following the ambulance issue for 3 years. I've been following this Kiss Bacon Company issue for 2 years. There are other issues that I am championing, that I am dealing with. Robert Amar told me today that they opened the Akil Chambers case. I am the person who's kept, if you Google Akil Chambers, you will see I'm the person who's kept Akil Chambers' name alive. The Jericho Project has had marches, justice for children, in Akil Chambers' name. I'm not trying to get credit, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that few in politics stay focused on an issue. We are going to prosecute these issues until they're resolved. And if we could do this without ever holding public office, if we could do this while just being normal, everyday citizens, imagine when we are in power. Imagine when we are in office. If I tell you that this organization will go after every criminal that has plundered our treasury, regardless of who they think they are, you could trust that we have a long game. You could trust that we will ensure that they get an opportunity to put back the people's money. We've estimated $3 trillion missing. That is a ridiculous amount of money. We are going to negotiate with China in Trinidad's best interests. And China, as massive as they are, will respect Trinidad and Tobago. We will negotiate with all our international partners in Trinidad and Tobago's best interest and not in our bank account interest. Because a lot of these mocking pretenders that you keep voting into office thinking that they are your leaders, they're touring the world making deals for kickbacks and commissions for themselves, friends and family and financiers, and fire truck you. But anyway, I started off to say that I was getting confused. There were too many voices in my ear. They would come to meetings and they would talk about how I say what I say. But then other people would point out the contradiction to them. That is why you're in the party. Everybody who's come to the party started following this. So why would you interrupt that? We come straight, we come honest, we come raw. You've been lied to for 56 years. No, you cannot play my video in church, temple, and mosque. But my video is not for church, temple, and mosque. This is always, it's been a wake-up call. When I told Trinidad and Tobago that the superfast glacier was going to become an issue, we still had a superfast glacier. When I told Trinidad and Tobago that the government was about to corruptly enrich its members by sabotaging, and I could play that video for you now. I was the person who rang that alarm bell and watched it collapse. I watched other organizations jump on board and they had their say and they go on. Tobago's still in trouble and you still don't have a proper sea bridge. And we bought a galleon's passage and Christ alone knows where the galleon passage is now. I could make joke. We could say that the people, old battery buying, what is he say? Old iron and old battery buying, they go take it. Like the last boat, Coleman would buy with Trinidad and Tobago money, $25 million, and then spent the next $25 million trying to make it float. That's $50 million. Now, fire truck, $50 million. But $50 million on a boat named Sue that has never benefited the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That same $50 million spent on a proper water management system for the East-West corridor would have prevented Beetham from flooding and would have prevented the people of Beetham having to go through all that they went through. Buying scrap iron, old battery buying. Rene, Hassan, Ali, you well know the thing. Scrap iron, old battery buying. Melissa, read what Rene said about. But you understand the point. Every single dollar that is spent, but we don't have a connection to it because we don't have a connection to the treasury and we don't have a connection to the government. To the people who got confused, who thought that the wrath of God was going to come down on earth because people skate water on a non-performing joke of a member of parliament. Missed the point entirely. Yes, of course we don't want anarchy. Of course not. You know me. I am the last person. I am the last person to support anarchy. I am the first person to tell you, don't lock it down, don't shut it down, don't burn it down, don't break it down. We could do more with our words and our patronage and our vote. What we tell you? Your labor, your consumption, and your vote. Those three things. It is I and the Progressive Empowerment Party that told you. Those are the things that will change Trinidad and Tobago. We don't have to break it down and burn it down and shut it down and lock it down. But we could, by our choices, demonstrate that we, the 99%, have all the power. And we could know that. Anyway, just to close off that issue, I have arrived at a decision. I am Philip Edward Alexander. I have given a lot of my life and time to a mission to try and open minds. That's the first mission. I've been doing it for well over a decade. And empower inform, educate, emancipate, liberate. Information does that. Information does that. When people have information, you ever hear the term informed choice? An informed choice is a real choice. There's an informed choice and there's a fool's choice. Where a fool's choice, take what you get, cat and bag. An informed choice, you know everything about the choices you're about to make, and you can make an effective choice in your best interest. And teaching people how to think, not what to think. Getting them to understand that there's short-term, medium-term, long-term gains in everything. And that sometimes it might be in your best interest to sacrifice the short-term gains for long-term benefits. We've been doing that. We've been educating people with all the bullshit and the joking and the ass talk and the bacchanal. All of the videos offer historic perspectives. We get people to understand how things came to be the way they are, how things are in the civilized, developed, and first world, and how we can have it. And if we're going to have it, how you go about getting it. We don't joke. We tell you, if you're doing education redevelopment in Trinidad and Tobago, bring people from Finland. Finland is clear. You hear me? I talk about Dubai, Singapore, Finland, Holland, New York City. Finland, education. Dubai, shipping. Singapore, Holland for water management. New York City for crime. Straight up. Tony Robbins, I used to love to listen to his videos. Tony Robbins loved to say, success leaves clues. So we don't have to make it up. We just go and find where it works. I want to ask Keith Rowley, I knew Gary Griffith was the best man for the job as Minister of National Security. He will do a good job as Commissioner of Police. I don't know the politics of our Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. I don't know what he's up against, but he has my support. But I'll tell you something. Keith Rowley knows that there is no better person for Minister of National Security trying to make it than Gary Griffith. And if Keith Rowley had control of his PNM, he would have appointed Gary Griffith day one. But he couldn't. Politics prevented him. So 1,000 extra people had to die. And that's the failure of this nation. 1,000 extra people had to die because we can't get out of our own way and separate politics from governance. Because it is governance that this nation has never had. We've never had a government tell the people, this is how this works. This. An education system, end to end. Steve Jobs introduced something to the world called a closed loop. When you buy a product from Apple, Apple's idea from the very start was that they would give you everything that you needed to operate this end to end. They didn't invent MP3 players. They didn't. They had Zune, I think that was the name of it. Zune. They had other MP3 players. Microsoft had an MP3 player. But when the iPod was launched, it was launched with iTunes. And iTunes was launched in collaboration with the recording industry. So it wasn't look at MP3 player, find your music. It was look at MP3 player, look at an operating system to run your MP3 player, and an iTunes store that could help you legally buy music, not piracy, like the rest of them was built on. Legally buy music from the people who made the music. And it brought the cost of music down to pennies. It literally changed the world. So when all the other MP3 players that existed before died, they died because they didn't have that closed loop mentality. When we tell you that the education system in Trinidad and Tobago needs to be done in a way that treats with everything, you have to understand how people get to school. You have to understand what people get from school. You have to understand what takes place during school hours and what you as a nation hope to achieve from school, from your education system. let's join this as a reference. You want your education system to provide an opportunity to maximize the potential of all of our young people as they growing up in society. Now, school is supposed to assist family. It takes a village. The village they're talking about is the home, the community, and school. Church too, in many areas, church used to be part of that village that it took to raise a child. Children don't grow up just with only information from family. There are other people that they draw experience from. And a proper education system would understand that. I don't think, and I still do not agree with having religious organizations having anything to do with education, because that's a different mission. And I don't want to confuse children. We have too many situations where Christians and Muslims end up in Hindu schools, and Hindus and Muslims end up in Christian Catholic school, and it's unfair to the child because they grow up feeling in their school system already feeling like a second-class citizen. And it's a hard thing to shake off. It affects your character, it affects your personality, and it affects your entire life. Religion have no purpose in schools, and no disrespect to anybody, but you shouldn't be teaching religion to children in school. That's not the purpose of school. Now, the religious institutions were motivated to teach religion, and they gave education as a part. So when the Holy Ghost fathers came to Trinidad and Tobago from Ireland to build schools like St. Mary's College and Fatima and the other schools that they built, it was first and foremost to impart religious knowledge and other education. The Dominican sisters who run St. Joseph Convent and Holy Name and others, same thing. But you're not supposed to, now in this modern era, when education is available to everybody, we could separate church and state. Having religion taught in school is not separating church and state. That is church running state. And we need to fix that. Make it possible for the churches and all your churches and all of your religions, please, do your thing. Go hard. I want to live in a world where everybody is free to express their beliefs in peace and harmony, including agnostics and atheists. We could live in a country where everybody can express and practice their beliefs. Khalil Gibran said to worship a God who tells you you could tear off your garment but leave it in no other man's path. In other words, as long as your religious observance or practice doesn't cause distress to anybody else, rock on with your bad self. Plain talk. But come back to education. Education's role in society is to impart social management skills and knowledge from which people could choose careers in life. That's what education is supposed to do. Education does not do that now. Our curriculums are pure filth. We have people coming out of school functionally illiterate. I talk to lawyers, doctors, CEOs that can't string a proper sentence. That when they write a letter, you see that they've never been properly educated. And it's not their fault. You can't blame them because that's all they had access to. Education in a nation that has the finance to provide a first world education should give every child, every single child, the same opportunities to access and maximize their potential. It shouldn't be two-tiered. I sat in the stands in Fatima College grounds and made a video that Trinidadians still don't understand. Some, not all, many people did, but some people deliberately tried to not understand that you cannot have Fatima College and Mokorapo Secondary, separated by one 15-foot strip of asphalt, and one be a prestige school and one be a failed school, and call what we have an education system. Sean Richards, what you just said is a fact, but this is not the same time as when Henry Ford never went to high school, because at that time 90% of the people never went to high school. Education gets pushed further and further. School leaving was reading, writing, arithmetic, and once you could do that, you could get a job in anywhere. You could become the CEO of something. And then you needed CXC passes, and then you needed a degree. Now you need a master's, just now to be a PhD. It's all about separating sheep from goat. A lot of it is bullshit. A lot of it is opportunities to advance yourself. Many people end up depressed. The #1 selling drug in the world are antidepressants, Prozac and Xanax and all of these drugs. And it's because people find themselves at a place in life. They do all the things that society tells them that they should do, and they find themselves in their 20s and their 30s not happy with where they are, but like trains on a track, they're stuck. Especially if money is a problem, because you're stuck in a job that you don't like and you don't see an opportunity out of it. A progressive organization would make sure that there is opportunity for you to go back to school in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s and become anything you want to be. Because our society will open and people will become happy and content and work with each other if they didn't live lives of quiet desperation. We talk to people in the banks, they're working as tellers in the bank, and they get a job in the bank and they're making do because a bank job, and a bank job better than a KFC job, and a KFC job better than a security guard work. But that's all they could say. They can't say that I love this as a career, I wanted to be a banker. And the entire industry has an attrition rate because of a pyramid that ends at the manager. And all 50 people on the bottom can't be manager. So they know at some point all of them are going to fall out of the system at some point. But we, as a nation, could create an education system that seeks to recognize innate talents and passions. Children who come from homes and communities that are farming based, they might want to know more about that. It will fit them in their family and their community better, and then you can go forward and offer things like food technology and food processing. And I watched a video on Netflix and I can't remember the name, but it's about the food that we eat and organic farming and how much better that type of farming and how much more sustainable that type of farming is and how much money it saves in healthcare costs. We just found out a judge just ruled that Monsanto is causing cancer, awarded a $289 million award for a man who's dying of cancer. So his inheritors will be happy, but he's still dying. And now they're finding traces of Monsanto chemicals in all those boxed cereals that you're buying and giving your children. Stop that. Stop it. You have a responsibility to give your children a healthy diet. And if it means getting up a little early in the morning to make a proper breakfast, boxed cereal is flour, sugar, and chemicals, and that ain't good for nobody. And I wish I knew this a long time ago. But I know it now, so I'm telling people. And if you're a parent, kind of address that. But coming back to the education system, and I know you see what I said, you know, closed loop. You see how many things it has to take into account? Creating a system that makes it possible for every child to find their passion. We need to respect the craftsman and the artisan and the tradesman the same way we respect the doctor and the lawyer. We have a crap of lawyers in this country that have nothing to do but sue each other because they don't have a real career. But mommy and daddy thought, I want money from a child. Doctor and lawyer is money. Engineer, money. But there are other things that needs to be done that keeps these wheels of society turning. And at some point, I'm telling you this, you know, as plumbers and electricians and masons and carpenters get more rare, they will become higher paid professions than lawyers. You could swing a cat in town and hit 50 lawyers trying to find a plumber. Post on Facebook, I need a good air condition technician. Post that on Facebook and see how many people say, I like in this post, so I could see the names that you get. Because everybody wants those things and they don't know how to do it. Again, certification. The state should be certifying all of our tradespeople, but we don't respect it. In Trinidad and Tobago, welders, pipe fitters, we have catch-all words, contractor or laborer, and it usually is affected by your skin color. It is very difficult for people of a certain hue to get themselves educated as a tradesman and sell themselves as owning a company. Because it's hard, because society has no respect for it, and we need to fix all of that. But it's not just trades. There are other crafts, food processing, food management, all of the culinary skills. Trinidad and Tobago, all the culinary arts, those are important things. Air conditioning, refrigeration, information technology. This is, I do not understand why every single school in Trinidad and Tobago do not have as part of their curriculum code writing, app building, and other forward-thinking courses. I see that the Ministry of Education is trying to give a course in cursive writing, and I don't know who's that supposed to help. Because apps are the way of the future. If the technology of the hardware is advancing to the point where, and I tell you this, within the next 5 years, if not sooner, you will be able to prick your finger and send your blood sample through your phone to your doctor. And they will be able to tell you then if you need to come in for a visit or not. And that's an app, and there'll be an app for that. And we need our young people having access to that kind of coursework so that they could choose if that's where they want to go. Electronics. There will always be an electronics industry. Everything is going more and more electronic. You could bet your bottom dollar, if you put your child in that industry, they will live well. If they like it, if they're predisposed to that, they will live well. Designing electronic architecture and engineering, designing that should be opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't hear any universities talking about that, but I might be missing the point. Anyway, how children get to school. I have read families talk about their children grew up in the back of the car, 2 hours to school and 2 hours back home. That their children literally grew up in the back of a car. That's not fair. Our school should all be zoned in the community. We could easily replicate all of the prestige schools in every community. All of our schools supposed to have as the highest benchmark their target. And all of the supervisors of education should ensure that all of their schools hit that national highest benchmark. And giving all of the children a grade point average, a GPA, allows the children to, and the teachers and the parents to track a child's performance every 3 months. Not against each other, but against their own development, trying to hit a national average that they know that the curriculum says is achievable. That makes it possible for all children to have access to the same quality education. You could abolish the SEA, make schools 10-year schools or even 12-year schools if it's necessary. But they come in at 5 and they come out at 15. The advantage of that, especially zoning the schools in the community, that children shouldn't be more than 15 minutes away from class. In case of an emergency, mommy and daddy must be close by. But more importantly, it should also be a law of education that parents should be on the PTA. For your child to attend school, a parent or caregiver must be a member of the Parent Teachers Association, so that the well-being of the child would be controlled and managed by parents from grade 1 to grade 10. And the children will grow with the same friends from the age of 5 to the age of 15, creating strong knitted communities. And the parents would have access to teachers and principals for the duration of the child's scholastic career, setting them properly off, ready to go forward in life. That is a proper education system. We've never had anything close to that. So too many of our children come out of school functionally illiterate. Half of the children don't graduate. Most of them, like the teachers that are teaching them, are wasting valuable life. And instead of creating schools where our children are excited to go to school and learn, we create dens of drudgery. But anyway, that is the point of a close. I use that as a point, closed loop. Agriculture, food production. Identify the consumption patterns of the country. Distribute farms to farmers throughout the country and on loan, on lease, and they grow. You buy at predetermined prices at the end of the crop, all of the crops, and distribute through wholesale and retail markets nationally, to manage the prices to prevent gouging. The state will make a profit, the farmers will make a profit, and the people will get affordable food. That is a closed loop of a food production organization built on serving people. And that's food production, education. All of our policies should be developed that way. Social management. We should have a national benchmark that no citizen should fall below. Government's job is to ensure that there is employment, for all the citizens. That's government's job. And we need to insist that that is the type of government we put in office. Anyway, long story short, I have decided that I am going to be authentically me. And I am not, that's not to say that I don't listen to people, but I have to be true to myself if I'm going to want to continue along this journey. The most important mission to me is to share information, to gather information and share it. I want to educate, inform, and empower the entire nation. Whether that leads me or us, the government, that's up to the people. But at the end of the day, an informed electorate is the goal and the target that we should all have in our crosshairs, so that the people would make better choices. And I think that would be in the best interest of everybody. We could reduce the cost of living, reduce the cost of food, make the minimum wage a livable wage, and take our country further. We could get there. Imagine this country if you had 4 and 5 internet service providers competing to get your job, your business. How broad the broadband will be, how fast the service would be, how cheap the price would be. But they can't do that because they build this entire country on who is willing to give us the biggest donation to keep the market closed so you could eat the most. And that's not in the best interest of the people. And that is why we say to Trinidad and Tobago all the time that the well-being of the citizens is the function, purpose, and reason of government. The price of internet and the speed of the bandwidth is the function and purpose and reason for government. The surface of the roads, function, reason, purpose of government. The continuity of education, provision of water, price of food, ability to own a home, regulations in the banks and the insurance companies, making life safe, simple, happy and enjoyable for all of the people of the country is the function, reason and purpose of government. And Fitzgerald Hines and the PNM of which he is a part has never done anything like that for the people of Beetham. And I am surprised it took 56 years for a PNM member of parliament to get wet. And I think that they should go back to the drawing board and try to figure out why. Trinidad and Tobago and the people of this country is my only driver. And to the PNM who is in government now, I make myself available free of charge. I want nothing in return. If you want good advice as to how to properly run this country, reach out to me. We don't fight. We could make a better Trinidad and Tobago, and I am willing to assist because it is high time we ended the bloodletting, the suffering, and the squalid squalor that our people are living under. Trinidad and Tobago needs to become first world and developed. The only way we're going to do that is to remove the corrupt bandits masquerading as government and replace it with a real service-driven public servant organization that understands that the well-being of all the citizens is the function, reason, and purpose for government. The day the entire nation understood that, they will drop all this red and ready, yellow and unsteady foolishness. They will stand up as one people with one voice demanding proper service for all. You will see how quickly roads get paved. You will see how quickly water finds itself in them pipes 24/7. You will see how fast the price of food come down. You will see how quickly every child in this country, all of them get access to the same prestige education. You'll see how quickly healthcare works professionally and treats our people with dignity and respect. You will see how fast banks start to pay interest on money and stop all those usurious and rapacious fees. You will see how quickly Trinidad and Tobago Police Service cleans itself and the justice system starts to really give us justice in a speedy and a timely manner. None of that is our condition now, and all of it we could have if we wanted it. Trinidad and Tobago could save $100 million this year if we shut down all the embassies and all the high commissions. We need 5. One in Asia, one in Europe, one in the Americas, one in the United Nations, and one in Africa. Shut the rest down. And we could save $100 million right there. We could do that and save $100 million right there. We could make water delivery functionally available to all 41 constituencies within 12 months. We can clean up the entire police service in less than 12 months and make it functional, professional, motivated and incentivized. We could stop the flow of drugs and guns and human trafficking into this country within 12 months. Trinidad and Tobago farmers could be growing on a national scale. You will know a projected harvest of this, that and the other by the ton within 12 months. That every single person who wants to own a home, once you have a job, you could go through the pre-qualification process like they do in first world countries to tell you that your salary means that you could qualify to buy a house up to $200,000. The government has a role and a responsibility. We spent $17 billion on national security. If we had spent half of that on home ownership, everybody would have an opportunity to own a home and crime will fall through the floor. If we ever want this country to be first world and developed, we have to elect into office people who really care about people and stop playing political bullshit, bacchanal and noise. Stop putting on yellow and red and going to wave flag and wave placard like that helping somebody. It's been 56 years of mismanagement and corruption. It's been 56 years of abuse, plunder and pillage. It is time we did something different. If you want a better nation, this Saturday at 10 o'clock. This Saturday at noon, we have our regular meet and greet and the entire nation is invited. Come, at the meet and greet, we discuss all our plans, all our policies. It's like these live videos on steroids. You get to meet the whole team and you can ask questions to your heart's content for about 3 hours. But at 10 o'clock, between 10 and 12, we're talking to volunteers and people who want to be team members We have plenty roles to fill as we're building out this party. And if you would like to be a part of the change that you want to see in Trinidad and Tobago, come 19 Stanmore Avenue at 10 o'clock this Saturday. We would love to have you. To everybody else, thank you for being with me. Hope you have a good night and stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago. Don't forget, prepare for bad weather in case we have bad weather to come. Yeah? Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.